Nestled deep within the Appalachian Mountains sits Blackwood Pines, a sprawling woodland retreat that promises an escape from the modern world. But for the Miller family, it offered an escape from life itself. 20 years ago, the four of them drove up a winding dirt road, checked into the secluded Cabin 11, and were never seen again.
For 2 decades, the Cabin 11 murders remained the most baffling unsolved case in state history. The crime scene was a paradox. Massive amounts of blood soaked the rustic wooden floorboards, yet there was no sign of a struggle, no forced entry, and absolutely no bodies. The local police quickly sealed the files, officially ruling it a cold case.
But the authorities were hiding something, a piece of evidence so disturbing, so utterly inexplicable, that they locked it away in an evidence vault for 20 years. It was a 911 call, a frantic, chaotic recording made by David Miller at 2:14 in the morning on the night his family vanished.
Just last month, an anonymous whistleblower leaked the digitized audio file to an independent investigative journalist. When the tape hit the internet, it sent shockwaves through the true crime community. The official police narrative had always been that the victims were taken by surprise in their sleep. The tape proved they were wide awake and they were being hunted.
To understand the sheer terror captured on that recording, we have to rewind to the days leading up to the disappearance. It was late November. A freak blizzard was rolling in, dropping the temperature to single digits. The Blackwood Pines resort was entirely empty, save for the Millers and an elderly groundskeeper who lived miles down the mountain.
According to the groundskeeper's original statement, which was heavily redacted in the police reports, David Miller had come down to the main office a day before the murders. David was visibly agitated, claiming he saw strange, tall figures standing at the edge of the tree line, just watching his children play in the snow.
The local sheriff had dismissed David's concerns as the paranoid delusions of a city dweller unaccustomed to the isolation of the woods. He told David it was probably just local hunters tracking deer. But as the blizzard hit that evening, cutting off power lines and burying the only access road under 3 feet of snow, Cabin 11 became a cage.
The forensic evidence later painted a grim picture of that evening. Half-eaten dinners were left on the dining table. A fire had burned down to cold ash in the hearth. Flashlights were found scattered near the windows, suggesting the family was frantically pacing, peering out into the blinding white storm, looking for whatever was stalking them. Then there is the blood. It belonged entirely to Sarah, David's wife. Forensics determined the sheer volume of blood loss meant Sarah could not have survived. Yet there were no drag marks leading out the door, no bloody footprints in the mud or snow outside. It was as if she had been slaughtered and then simply vanished into thin air.
For years, theorists speculated that David snapped, killed his family,
hid their bodies, and fled into the wilderness to die. The police actively pushed this narrative, labeling David the primary suspect. It neatly wrapped up a terrifying mystery into a tragic but common case of family annihilation. But they knew the truth. They had the tape.
At exactly 2:14 a.m., the emergency dispatch center in the nearest town received a call from the landline register to Cabin 11. It bypassed the downed cell towers, crackling with heavy static. The dispatcher, a 20-year veteran named Martha, answered with the standard greeting. What she heard in response would give her nightmares until the day she died.
On the recently leaked audio, the first 10 seconds are nothing but the howling wind of the blizzard, filtering through what sounds like a shattered window. Then you can hear David Miller. He is not screaming. He is whispering so quietly that audio engineers had to isolate his vocal track just to make out his desperate words. Quote, "They are inside. Don't make a sound." End quote. David isn't talking to the dispatcher. He is warning his children. The dispatcher repeatedly asks him for his emergency, her voice loud and echoing on the other end. You can hear David softly pleading with her to be quiet, whispering that the noise will draw them to the bedroom.
Notice the pronoun David uses. They, plural. He wasn't dealing with a lone intruder. As the tape plays on, a bizarre background noise emerges. It is a rhythmic, wet, thumping sound, accompanied by a low, guttural humming that several audio experts claim does not match human vocal cords. The sound is slowly moving down the hallway of the cabin. Suddenly, Sarah Miller's voice cuts through the static. She shrieks, a sound of pure, unadulterated agony that clips the microphone. Then, a wet, tearing noise, followed by absolute silence from her. She doesn't scream again. In the background, the guttural humming grows louder, almost vibrating through the phone's receiver. The dispatcher is begging for someone to respond. David is crying now. You can hear the muffled sobs of his 8-year-old daughter. The heavy, rhythmic footsteps stop right outside the bedroom door. David whispers his final recorded words directly into the phone. Quote, "They don't have eyes. Oh my God. They don't have eyes." The door slowly groans open.
A violent crash shatters the phone receiver. The line doesn't go dead immediately. For another 15 seconds, the microphone captures the sounds of a brutal, chaotic struggle. Furniture breaks, the children scream, and over it all, that impossible low humming sound swells into a deafening roar before the line is finally severed. When the local police finally breached the cabin 2 days later, after the snowplows cleared the road, they found the shattered phone receiver on the bedroom floor. They found Sarah's blood. But the tape was immediately confiscated by the chief of police, completely omitted from the official record, and buried in an unmarked box in the precinct basement. Why hide the tape? If it was just a break-in, a home invasion gone wrong, why go through the immense effort of suppressing the most vital piece of evidence? Internet sleuths and investigative journalists point to a massive cover-up, suggesting the local authorities knew exactly who or what was hunting in those woods. Records show that in the decade prior to the Miller family's disappearance, at least 7 other hikers and campers vanished within a 50-mile radius of Blackwood Pines. Every single one of those cases was quietly dismissed as accidental exposure or animal attacks. None of their bodies were ever recovered. Some theorize it was a deeply insulated local cult operating with the protection of law enforcement. The missing eyes David described could have been the assailants wearing grotesque masks. The rhythmic thumping and humming might have been part of some deranged ritualistic killing. This theory explains the lack of bodies and the deliberate police obstruction.
Others believe a prolific serial killer was using the Appalachian wilderness as his personal hunting ground. A killer so deeply embedded in the community, perhaps even someone wearing a badge, that covering up his crimes became a local necessity. The bizarre audio anomalies on the tape could simply be the killer using psychological terror against his victims. But the most unsettling theory stems from the sheer impossibility of the crime scene. The complete absence of footprints outside the cabin in a fresh 3-foot blanket of snow. How did the killers approach? How did they leave with 4 bodies? To this day, the physics of the crime scene completely defy logical explanation. The leak of the 911 call has finally forced the state to reopen the Cabin 11 murders. But 20 years is a long time. Trails go cold, evidence degrades, and whatever broke into that cabin, dragging a family into the frozen dark, has never been caught. If you ever find yourself renting an isolated cabin in the woods, remember to lock the doors. Not that it will stop them.